There's like gnats everywhere. There are gnats everywhere. It's Laura Eubanks of Design for Serenity with your succulent tip of the day, and it's day 1 in Poway. So this is phase 1 of what will be a multi-phase project, and what we're focusing on this 6-day project are the driveway flanks. So this was full of crap. Your usual suspects. Just if you want to pan over here on the other side of this split rail fence, this was basically what was over here on this side too. And this property next door is sort of, I think, quasi-abandoned, if I remember the story correctly. And my client, Mandy, wasn't quite sure how to do a delineation. I suggested, she had this fencing, I suggested that she just repeat it over here. And it's perfect, because that's theirs and this is ours. So this fence is new. I voted to get rid of the palm trees, but they decided to hold on to them. And I'm not exactly sure why. I think it was more of a compromise situation. But that's okay. You know, whatever. It's fine. We are going to bring in a lot of really, really beautiful large specimen plants for these driveway flanks. We have some challenges. We're going to have to roll out weed fabric in here. It gives me kind of the heebie-jeebies to look at what's already coming up just after our last rains a couple of nights ago. And with this not being a tapestry and being more foundational, you know, kind of a specimen garden, I don't want her out here trying to deal with weeds in a big space. I mean, this is at least 1,000 square feet just on this side, at least. So it's no big deal either. You know, we'll roll it out in sheets and get on with our lives. So I've got the guys right now, while Greg is off getting some materials, they're excavating all of the pop-ups so that we can cap them. And they're also uprooting all of the lights, the low voltage lights, which will be modified and replaced. Then we're going to take a trench shovel and trench out all along each side of the driveway so that when we do apply the weed fabric, it's below grade. Because as you know, there's going to be rock top dressing on top of that fabric, and I don't want it, you know, running down the driveway. Weed fabric, you know, I have a love-hate relationship with it. You're still going to get some weeds because weeds are often airborne, as you know, as well as coming up from the bottom. And the stuff isn't particularly environmentally friendly. It does, well, look at this over here. This has been here for years, and you can see how it's all ripped and gross. Look at that. I mean, you know, it's not a forever solution, but I think that after a number of years, it does do a pretty impactful job of solarizing.
And it is easier to pull the weeds.
Yeah, it does a good job of solarizing, and also it is easier to pull the weeds on top of the fabric than it is.
Is that for us?
Below. Oh.
That's not for us.
Yeah, here comes.
That's too big.
No, here's a toy that Daddy Greg rented. And there's a Corvette flying by it. But yes, this is a reach lift with a bucket attachment. Oh my God, I'm getting so good at this, because we're going to be getting some really big boulders. That's where my soil's going. So I don't know, maybe I should take a minute to tell them where to park. Hold on. Okay, that's the thing with day 1. It's always kind of a cluster, you know what, with everybody kind of showing up at the same time, it seems, with stuff. And this piece of equipment, you may recognize this from the Oceanside project, but we also have a bucket attachment on this too. Greg wanted to be able to move soil around, as well as move the boulders into place. And Luke, our new guy, you met Luke on the last job. He's got a lot of experience driving heavy equipment. So with Daddy Greg not being here, it's so wonderful that Luke is there to talk equipment talk with the guys. Okay, so what still needs to happen? Oh, yeah. So these flanks, we're down here now. This is going to be the money. I'm going to blow out these driveway flanks. I'm going to come from here around to the pillar, and we'll probably just rubble for delineation, because eventually that's going to be obviously part of the project too, just not this phase. So that's the beauty of rubbling, to separate your projects from your neighbors, or from, you know, phase one from phase two. It's just basically taking, you know, chunky 6 to 12 inch pieces of boulder and making a border with them. And the beauty of it is it's effective, and it's really easy to manipulate down the road if you want to open up your installation or change or modify it. So I'm thinking about 20 cubic yards of soil on these flanks. They're going to be high, and we're going to have Bart from KRC stage boulders with his crane, because we've got 4-footers coming. So we're going to do some giant rocks down here, beautiful plant material here, and then we're just going to carry the theme all the way up to the garage. Okay, so it is the end of day 1, and we are still waiting on our boulders.
When were they supposed to be here?
Yeah. They were supposed to be here a couple hours ago. So, anywho, however, it's not a total loss. I mean, we did get 10 yards of soil dumped over on this side. Well, actually, this is about almost 13 yards. Another 3 or 4 yards over on this side. And then where I have the cones is kind of where this initial phase 1 installation boundaries are going to be. So when Bart comes with the big boulders, you know, he'll have some parameters. And I'm not worried about where he puts them, because we can manipulate the soil around him. He will make such a mess of it as he has to, because he's got this giant claw and he's got to dig out and this and that. And blah. So I just wanted to get the soil in, and we'll manipulate it tomorrow. We got irrigation all exposed. We got a ton of it capped. We threw down some weed barrier fabric. I am hoping that Bart can dig out and stage some big boulders here. I want to do a boulder colony in this area, because this is where all the water pours down from. So we want to really slow its trajectory to the street. I'll be building up a lot in this area right over here to maximize that natural downslope. Always work with the topography that you have, and with, you know, if you're lucky enough to have any movement in your yard, play off that. Make the mounds higher and the valleys lower. I spent about an hour with Hannah's help cleaning up this yucca. This is not a favorite plant of the clients, and she said I could rip it out if I wanted, but I like it. I think it's got character, and I cleaned off a ton of dead leaves. I limbed up some of the green leaves. I exposed more of the caudex, and now once I get this all raked out, and this flag is representative of a large boulder, we'll go right there. We get all our top dressing rock, blah, blah, blah. It's going to look 100. It's going to look like a beautiful brand new specimen. And I'm just so curious to see her reaction once we get the other plants in, and the boulders and the rock, if she can even tell anymore. She'll probably say, I'm so glad you got rid of that yucca. And I'll be like, well, there it is. So again, just the beauty of smoke and mirrors. I guess that's pretty much it, right? Please inundate me with your questions in the comments. Happy to help. Trying to answer as many questions as I can. A lot of you recently have been asking about, you have limestone, you have DG, you have clay soils, you have, you know, whatever you've got going on naturally in your yards. and you're asking me if anything needs to be scraped off before you bring topsoil in, and the answer is, to the best of my knowledge, no. I have never scraped anything off. I've always just thrown dirt on top of whatever is there. And, you know, my main reason for bringing in amended topsoil is, first and foremost, because it looks amazing and creates drama in your landscapes. Secondly, is it is incredible for aeration and absorption. It'll hold water so it doesn't run off. It drains beautifully. So if you've got clay soils or stone underneath, you know, when you plant on top of mounds, the water's got somewhere to go and the roots can dry. And of course, it makes it a lot easier to dig. So there are just so many reasons to use amended topsoil in your installations. And I can say, generally speaking, from my experience, that you do not need to remove things from the top of the soil before adding amended top and planting on top of it. So if any of you have an experience that is contradictory to what I just said, please let us know in the comments.
We're also doing the bed. It's going to wrap
Yes.
around. You didn't mention that.
I only have, speak based on experience. So happy to hear your experiences too. You may remember there was a sticks on fire here, a Euphorbia tirocali. We cut it up, dug out the root ball. I'm going to use that plant and stand probably over on the other side. This is going to be about a 3-foot bed. So it's going to be interesting to see what I figure out to do here. I will be bringing in rubble, large pieces of rubble to create a border. We'll be dry stacking up around that green tote and doing that flower bed all the way to the queen palm tree. We're going to be putting in all new lights and of course subterranean drip. This is a challenging area here. The client had put a lot of rock. I think that this is a real runoff. They have major runoff here. So we'll do something beautiful with retention and boulders in this area as well. So hopefully tomorrow will be more exciting. All the plants from Waterwise are coming and I've got some new things I'm working with. So you should be really excited to see that. And then Caesar will be coming on Wednesday with my haul from him. It's going to be amazing, using some things on this one that I've never used before. So thanks you all for following. This has been Laura Eubanks of Design for Serenity with Day 1 in Poway and your succulent tip of the way. Bye guys. Oh, succulent tip of the day.